Today I am working on a Cat C-13. This has the compound turbo set up for the on-road applications. What we had happen here is a cracked manifold. We spotted this when we were doing some other maintenance, but as you can see, it was pretty severe. We got everything torn down. I have mating surfaces somewhat cleaned up, but I'm gonna go ahead and replace this hose here just while I have access to it. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and start mounting everything back up. I am short a few things. I'm missing a stud for the low pressure turbo, and I'm missing some of my lock nuts, but I have enough to get a decent way into this. We will see where it goes from here. All right, I got this coupling replaced, and it's a good thing it was, because there's numerous cracks in this. Replace the seal and the clamps. Some of those bolts in the back here are a little rough to get at, but you use a 1/4-inch ratchet and you can make it work just fine. So now we are on to getting some of these pedestals and bracketry mounted up, and we could see how far we could get with that. We have to install the downpipe. It's a little bit of a pain to get at once everything's up here, so I'll probably end up doing that first. Actually, I take that back. I need to finish cleaning up my surfaces, and then we will go from there. All right, I got all the surfaces prepped. The easiest way I've found to do that is with a carbide tipped scraper. These things do an excellent job of keeping a flat finish and getting any debris or paint off of your surfaces. I have all the studs installed. I used a little bit of anti-seize. So now we are ready to go ahead and install all of our exhaust gaskets. So I'll do that real quick. Oops. Oh, and let me introduce you to Hazel. This is the technical service pup. She enjoys hanging out in the shop. Well, really, let's be honest, she just likes hanging out with me. I don't know why, no one else does. So I did have the downpipe installed, but I realized I want to have that off so I could have the manifold adjusted. It's a 3-piece manifold, so you kind of have to have everything lined up perfectly. Oh, this one's fighting me a little bit. But these are some nice gaskets. The ones that were on it were the composite type things, and these are a nice multi-layer steel gasket. And I gotta say, the quality is actually pretty good. Oh man, this one's fighting me. It doesn't help that I'm doing this one-handed, but come on. Oh, I should bring a GoPro in. That would help significantly. Okay, fine. You could just stay there until I have 2 hands. We'll just keep going here. Last one. Beautiful. All right. Okay, we got to get this one. Why do you want to fight? That's the issue with some of these MLS gaskets, is all the little pieces in there can hold you up on the threads or whatnot. This one really does not want to go on there. Come on. Sometimes you gotta wiggle it a little bit. I mean, you could definitely install this with the stud too, but I prefer this way. Keeps it a little easier. All right, I'm gonna have to put the phone down to put the manifold on, but I will pick up right from there. The manifold has been set on there. As you can see, it's all still loose. This is a 3-piece manifold, so these are separate, these are separate, and we have a seal that goes in here and a clamp that keeps them all tight. We're gonna go ahead and install the spacers, washers, and the nuts. We're gonna do this loosely until we get all this on, and then we're gonna go from there, so. Oh, get back in there. The one on the bottom's kind of a pain to get at, but not a big deal. So if you're ever curious about the order in which you install a lot of this stuff, Cat has a great system. It's very detailed. It's actually pulled up right here. But this is SIS, and you could put in your engine serial number or the equipment serial number, and they'll give you breakdowns of pretty much everything, and it's very helpful. Oh, come on, let's go. There we go. It's a lot of back and forth right now. And I know you guys can't see this one, but it's a pretty tight fit. And the back ones. All right. Let's just grab all these. All right. Oh, that one almost got away from me. Gotta be quicker than that. This loose heat shield's kind of annoying. That is what it is, though. All right, last one. Get behind there. All right. So I'm just gonna go ahead and snug these up real gently. And that'll keep the orientation of the 3 different pieces of manifold where they belong. You can see how loose everything is. And I've found that just getting everything kind of where it wants to be makes it easier for assembly. All right, well, I'm gonna snug these down. And then we will go ahead and install these. These are the seals here. How they go is kind of like this, and it wraps all the way around it. And then they get sandwiched in place by these. As you can see, it is a perfect fit in there. One side of this is a little bit taller. The taller side goes on the outside, obviously. Come on, like that, and locks everything down in place. So I'm gonna snug all this up. I'm gonna need 2 hands for getting these put in, and then we'll pick up from there. Got a bit carried away over here. Not used to recording my work, so got everything torqued down. Got my seals in. You can see how they work. It basically just sandwiches that in there. I got some of my bracketry on, got the pedestal for the atmospheric turbo, got the downpipe in. It's just loose for now, but this is my stopping point. Unfortunately, I do not have my oil drain or my oil feed gaskets, and with how this goes together, it's a lot easier to get access to these 2 bolts without the atmospheric turbo being mounted to this pedestal. So I'm gonna wait for those to come in, and then I'll just hold the turbo, get the bolts in, and then I could set it up on the pedestal and go from there. If you are a mechanic, you understand that parts are a constant battle, unfortunately, and there's really nothing you could do to avoid it. I mean, you could have all the part numbers, everything you need, and still it's relying on someone else. And that being said, you just run into issues all the time. It's a daily struggle for us here. And I feel like we never get everything we need, or it's wrong. But we will pick this back up at a later date. This is actually a Saturday I came in. So Monday, I'm gonna go ahead and get all the other parts ordered. I need my 2 oil drains, my 2 oil feed gaskets. I did not even get my turbo to manifold flange gasket. And then there's a pre-cooler as well. This O-ring is flat. I'm not gonna rerun that. Just asking for a leak, so I'm gonna order one of those. I was shorted one of these studs. I was shorted 4 of the nuts for the studs. And when you're replacing all this high temp stuff, you wanna make sure it's all new. It just, reduces the risk of breaking or having other issues. So with the cracked manifold, there was also a broken stud that I had to extract. And it's why you don't reuse stuff. You just get all new stuff. But hopefully I could get the parts in Monday or Tuesday. It's probably going to be Wednesday. I finish up here. I have this other tree truck over there. I have injector that I need to replace. I need to run the overhead on it. The Huey pump was installed without the seal on it. I have the seal, I have the injector. I need to do the fuel return on it. But yeah, this was a significant leak because someone didn't install this gasket, or O-ring, sorry. So this is a fun project over here. There's a lot of other little things that need to be done, some electrical stuff. But you guys will see that in the future, and we'll go from there. It's been a few days, but we have received all the parts, and we are ready to install the rest of this system. This is gonna require 2 hands. I don't know if I could prop my phone up somewhere and try and get some video of me holding the turbo, getting the drain line hooked up, but I'll give it my best shot. There goes the other bolts. They don't want to hold them in perfectly, but I lost the washer for it too. That's optimal. Well, I have spare washers, so not a worry, but let's grab the bolt for the other turbo drain line. Kind of a pain, yes, honestly. Actually, you know what? I could get that one on after I have it on the pedestal. So let's just go ahead and do that real quick. Okay, it is in place. All right. Now it's time for the pedestal hardware. I am going to use a little bit of Never Sneeze on it, just because we like stuff that comes apart. I don't even like using the brush. I just dip the end of the bolt in there a little bit. Just get a little bit on there. Sorry for my finger being in the way. I'm gonna put my phone down, pick up in a second. All right, the atmospheric turbo, high pressure turbo, whatever you wanna call it, is installed. Everything is torqued down. So next I am going to go ahead and get the downpipe mounted up, get the heat shield on, and then back there is the mount for the downpipe. So I will get that secured as well, and we'll pick up. All right, I got the low pressure turbo off the manifold mounted up. Everything's torqued down. Got the oil feed and the oil drains hooked up. Now that's left to do is the exhaust crossover to the high pressure turbo. From there, we need to mount our accessory brackets, or not accessory, but our brackets for the pre-cooler. And then we're on to intercooler piping. While I was cleaning up some of my mating surfaces and V-bands, I threw a coat of paint on this turbo, just real lightly. I don't know, I like making stuff look good. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on the pre-cooler brackets and get those last remaining lines hooked up. And we will go from there. What do you think, Miss Hazel Dog? Is it going along? Got the exhaust crossover and the feed for the atmospheric turbo on. I got all the bracketry, the heat shield, pre-cooler. I got to go through, tighten some of the lines up. This one's just loose. Need to install this hose. I got the EGT probe in. What's left? Honestly, not a whole lot. I got to just finish up a couple intercooler pipes, clean a couple little things up, and fill it back up with fluid, and we should be good to go. All right, this is the finished product here. Got the intake back on, all the piping, everything's tightened down. The only thing left to do is fill it back up with coolant. And she is back on to better things.